A significant part of the Maine Health Management Coalition's mission is to publicly report on healthcare quality in Maine. One of the most important elements of accurately assessing provider practices is to have a complete perspective of the clinicians working there. This includes knowing when a provider has departed, as well as knowing when new providers arrive. Understanding if a provider has a patient panel that would allow them to apply for recognition, and being able to see when an existing recognition expires. The answers to these questions are part of a process that updates the GetBetterMaine.org website 4 times a year. A visitor to the site can select up to 4 practices to compare based on the search criteria that's important to them. Many visitors are employees looking to take advantage of their company's tiered benefit program that provides incentives to get care at higher-rated healthcare providers. The Coalition works to ensure that a process is in place that delivers the most accurate assessment of provider performance. Data provided from a range of national and state organizations is systematically collected and analyzed according to specific guidelines. Ratings are currently given only to practices and not the individual clinicians working there. There are 2 ways a rating is generated. The first path is based on a practice having a group recognition. One of the advantages of this approach is that the rating stays with the practice regardless of changes in staffing. This type of recognition will last from 2 to 3 years depending on the specific accreditation organization the practice used. Because group recognition is not always the best choice for every organization, the Coalition provides a second option. It uses a formula based on the mix of individual ratings held by the staff. For example, suppose in an office 4 out of 6 clinicians all held individual ratings of good in a particular area. Based on a formula developed by an MHMC steering committee, 66% of the providers must achieve a rating level before it can be extended to the group. In this case, the website would show a good rating for the group. For purposes of fairness, there are multiple what-if conditions that require additional consideration. The calculation of 66% relates only to providers who are eligible to apply for recognition. Doctors, physician assistants, and nurse practitioners might not have been at the practice for a year. They might not have had a large enough patient panel to apply for recognition. In those situations, the rating is based purely on the number of eligible providers. Out of 6 clinicians, perhaps only 3 are eligible, 2 with a better rating and 1 with a good. Since 3 out of the 3 eligible have a rating, they easily pass the 66% requirement. When 2 have better and 1 has good, the practice gets a better rating because 66% have the higher rating. Many of the practices with ratings on the website have achieved them through the composite scores of individual providers. Because Maine has rural areas with smaller practices, an additional exception has been made. If one of the providers has a rating, that rating is extended to the practice as well. Composite ratings, made up of individual scores, require important pieces of information to be accurate. It's needed to be known who are the clinicians providing care at the practice, are they eligible to apply for recognitions, and what are their existing recognition levels and when do they expire. While the Coalition has direct access to some of this information, practices have an important role to play in making sure the ratings are accurate. The first step a practice can take is to make sure the list of providers in the Maine Provided database accurately reflects the clinicians working at their location. This information can be viewed on the GetBetterMaine.org website. This starts by clicking the Doctor or Practice Name button on the home page. The next step is to select the type of care given at the practice. The practice name field automatically starts to offer specific offices after 3 letters have been typed in. The list refines itself as more letters are typed. It is also required to either enter the zip code or town name where the practice is located before clicking the Go button. The last step is to click on the practice name to bring up the list. This window displays all of the clinicians for the practice exactly how they appear in the main provider database. It is important to note that the formulas used to calculate the ratings will assume that all the clinicians are eligible unless the practice notifies the coalition. The process for correcting the list of providers, their recognitions, or their eligibility is well defined. All of the required forms can be quickly downloaded from the mehmc.org website. A link on the home page will take you directly to the download links and other related information. A practice could need 2 separate forms depending on the specific updates that are required. The additional attestation form will be required if a practice is looking to exclude a clinician from the rating calculation due to their patient panel or for being at that location for less than a year. The practice update form provides a simple framework for reporting updates. A practice that does not have a group rating can flag providers that should not be included as part of the formula, but the additional step of filling out the attestation form will be required. Once filled in, these forms can be forwarded to the coalition and the database will be modified. Another step a practice can take to ensure it receives the recognition it deserves is to know when recognitions expire. The initial application or renewal process can take time, and the website data is only updated quarterly. Finally, a practice should review its options for group recognition instead of having to be concerned about the fluctuations in ratings that can occur when individual ratings are used to generate a composite score. Thank you for your help and being an important part of Maine's healthcare improvement process. If you need additional information, please contact the Coalition at pte@mehmc.org.